10 steps ahead. TGBU talk, yeah, yeah. TGBU talk, yeah, yeah. TGBU talk, yeah, yeah. TGBU talk, yeah, yeah.
Ever get that, like, pang of nostalgia thinking about those late-night gaming sessions with your crew?
Yeah.
You know, those moments that felt like totally epic, even if it was just your own little world.
Totally.
Well, today we are diving into a story that is giving me some serious friendship goals vibes. The Saga of TGBU.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
From the excerpts you shared, this isn't about, esports stardom or anything.
Right.
It's about 6 friends who turned gaming into, like, their own language, their own inside jokes, their own brand of awesome.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So, like, what made TGBU so special? What can their story teach us about friendship, online communities, and maybe even that, like, bittersweet nostalgia we all feel for those, carefree gaming days? That's what we're here to uncover.
Well, what fascinates me about TGBU is how their story, it like taps into the universal human need for connection. They weren't just playing games. They were building a world together, brick by digital brick.
Yeah.
And that resonates with anyone who's ever felt that sense of belonging in a group, online or in person.
Right. And the excerpts you sent over are full of these, like, hilarious stories about their GTA 5 antics and Rocket League showdowns.
Oh, yeah. Those are golden.
But here's the thing. They weren't, like, obsessed with winning.
Really?
In fact, they seemed to, like, relish the chaos, turning every game into a platform for epic, unscripted moments. What does that tell us about their, like, dynamic?
It speaks volumes about the trust and comfort they had with each other. Think about it. When you're with close friends, you're not afraid to let loose, to be your silliest self.
Totally.
There's a freedom that comes from knowing you won't be judged. And that's what allowed TGBU to turn even the most mundane games into, like, legendary stories.
It's like they created a safe space for pure, unadulterated fun. And speaking of fun, they didn't limit themselves to just 1 or 2 games. FIFA, CSGO, even that, gloriously frustrating human fall flat.
Ah, tell me about it.
They embrace it all, which, by the way, brings us to something that I found particularly intriguing. The legendary Chained Together night that never happened.
Oh, Chained Together. Fill me in.
Okay, so for those unfamiliar, Chained Together is this game where, well, you're literally chained to your fellow players and you have to work together to solve puzzles and overcome obstacles. It's chaotic, it's hilarious, and it seems like the perfect game for a TGBU reunion. Yet it never happened. Why do you think that is, and what does it say about the, like, challenges of recapturing that old magic as we get older?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And you're right. The Chained Together night, or lack thereof, is such a, like, potent metaphor for adult friendships. We yearn for those carefree days, for those epic gaming marathons that stretched into the wee hours. But life has a way of, well, getting in the way.
It's like the game itself mirrors the reality of their adult lives.
Yeah.
Each of them increasingly chained to their responsibility, their careers, their relationships. Let's unpack that a bit, shall we? Because each member of TGBU was at a pivotal point in their lives during this period. Abood, on his way to becoming a doctor.
Exactly. Abood's journey to becoming a doctor is a perfect example. Here he is dedicating himself to this, like, incredibly demanding profession, one that requires, like, years of intense study, sacrifice. It, like, naturally shifts your perspective, and how you choose to spend your limited free time.
It's not even just time, is it? Becoming a doctor, it comes with this whole new set of responsibilities, right? Like a weight that maybe wasn't there during those carefree gaming days.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how those changes impacted his relationships, even with his closest friends in TGBU.
Absolutely. It's like that old saying, you can't step in the same river twice.
Right.
Both the river and the person stepping into it have changed. Abood's growth, his evolving priorities, they would have inevitably shaped his interactions with the group, even if that core of their bond remained strong.
And it wasn't just Abood going through these, like, major life changes. We've got Hadi navigating the world of work and family. From the excerpts, it sounds like he was the one who really tried to make that Chained Together night happen. What do you make of that?
I find that incredibly poignant, even amidst, like, the whirlwind of adulting, the demands of a career, a family, that desire to reconnect with his friends, to carve out time for TGBU, it remained. it speaks to the depth of those bonds, that sense of like brotherhood that transcended the virtual world.
It's like a testament to the the enduring power of friendship, right?
Right.
Even when life tries to pull you in a million different directions. And let's not forget Name, taking the plunge into married life. A move that, let's be honest, can sometimes throw a wrench into the best laid gaming plans. How do you think Name's new chapter impacted the group dynamic?
Chuckles warmly. It's a classic dilemma, isn't it? Balancing the joys and responsibilities of a committed relationship with your own personal time, especially when it comes to like hobbies and passions like gaming.
Yeah, it's about finding that equilibrium, that sweet spot where everyone feels, respected, heard. Because let's be real, not every partner is going to be thrilled about those late night gaming sessions.
Precisely. And this is where, open communication and a healthy dose of compromise come into play. It's not about like abandoning those passions, but rather finding ways to integrate them into your evolving life, ensuring that both your personal needs and the needs of your relationship are being met.
And while we're talking about, evolving lives, let's not forget Manny and Ali holding down the fort in Bahrain. The excerpts didn't delve too deeply into their storylines, but it sounds like they were also kind of caught in the current of life's changes, right?
Absolutely. And that's the universal truth, I think, underpinning TGBU's story. Life happens, responsibilities accrue, ambitions shift, relationships deepen. But amidst all that change, those core friendships, those shared experiences, they leave an indelible mark.
They become part of your DNA almost, don't they? Shaping your humor, your outlook, the way you navigate the world. It's like those inside jokes, those memories forged over countless hours of laughter and virtual adventure. They create a shared language, a bond that transcends time and distance. And you know what? There's one more member of the TGBU crew I can't wait to ask you about. Azrin, right? The wild card, the one who always kept things interesting. For what I gathered, he was always up for anything. The first one to, dive headfirst into a new game or some crazy challenge. What do you think? What do you think his energy brought to the group dynamic?
Azrin, he represents that spark of spontaneity. That's so essential in any close-knit group.
Oh, totally.
He's the embodiment of that let's just go for it attitude, That often leads to the most memorable moments. It's like he provided that unpredictable element that kept things fresh and exciting, even when they were, just goofing off in a virtual world.
He's that friend you call when you want to have an adventure.
Yeah.
Even if it's, just within the confines of a video game.
Exactly.
And that makes me think about something you touched upon earlier, this idea of TGBU's story, resonating beyond the screen. Have you noticed any parallels between their experiences and the broader trends you're seeing in online gaming communities?
Absolutely. TGBU's story highlights this phenomenon that's becoming increasingly prevalent in the digital age. The formation of these incredibly tight-knit communities around, shared passions like gaming. These online spaces, they provide a sense of belonging, right? A platform for people to connect with, like-minded individuals, forge relationships that often transcend the virtual world.
It's like finding your tribe, your digital squad, where you can be yourself, geek out over your shared interests, and escape the pressures of everyday life. And for TGBU, that escape, that shared language they created, it had a certain magic to it. It makes you wonder, could they ever recapture that feeling, even if a full-blown reunion isn't in the cards?
That's the heart of it, isn't it? That yearning for a return to simpler times, for those moments of pure, unadulterated joy that seemed so effortless back then. But as we've discussed, life has a way of adding layers, complexities that make it, difficult to fully recapture the past.
It's like trying to fit into your favorite childhood shirt,
Yeah.
It might still hold sentimental value, but it doesn't quite fit the same way it used to.
Exactly. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's simply a reflection of growth, of change, of life, taking us in different directions. But here's the beautiful thing. Even if those exact feelings can't be replicated, the memories, the bonds forged during those formative experiences, they stay with us.
They shape our perspectives, our sense of humor, the way we interact with the world. It's those experiences become part of our internal hard drive, influencing who we are, even as we continue to evolve.
Precisely. And that's what makes TGBU's story so compelling. It's a reminder that friendships, like all relationships, they're constantly evolving. It's not always about, grand reunions or trying to recapture the past, but rather about like cherishing the connections we've made, acknowledging the impact they'd had on our lives, and finding ways to nurture those bonds in the present moment.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what would you say is the most important thing for our listeners to take away from TGBU's story? What's the nugget of wisdom they can carry with them?
Embrace the evolution. Embrace the fact that friendships change and grow just like we do. Cherish the memories, laugh about the inside jokes, and never underestimate the power of shared experiences to shape who we are, but also be open to new chapters, new adventures, and the realization that sometimes the greatest testament to a strong friendship is its ability to adapt and thrive even as life pulls us in different directions.
Beautifully said. And you know what? It makes you want to pick up the phone, call up your gaming buddies, and reminisce about those epic moments, those inside jokes, those memories that never fail to bring a smile to your face. So to all our listeners out there who have ever felt that camaraderie, that sense of belonging within a gaming crew, past or present, this one's for you. Keep those connections strong. And remember, life's too short not to carve out some time for a little, virtual mayhem every now and then. And hey, if you've got a story about your own legendary gaming crew, we want to hear it. Hit us up on social media and share your tales of digital triumph and camaraderie. Until next time, game on.
Yeah, you heard what we said. You know we the best. You know what the deal is, 'cause we 10 steps ahead. TGBU talk. Yeah.